Jared Vieira has had a deep impact on the lives around him. In what would be considered a small town in Southern California, he has had tremendous reach. More than 50% of those who attend the church he pastors consistently volunteer in the church or in the community. Over the years, he has helped raise an extraordinarily high percentage of leaders in both ministry and in business. He has the ability to see potential and is always inviting people to take the challenge of growing and being shaped into who God has designed them to be.
You're a leader, called to inspire others to be the same. You're called to experience the fullness of God's promises. You boldly face your fears. You chart your own path when you need to. When life knocks you down, you get back up one more time, every time. You're forever learning, increasing your capacity to be the best you. You're strong, resilient. You're not easily discouraged, and you're never defeated. You're rugged on the inside, but on the outside, you're identified as loving, gracious, consistent. You don't quit.
I think it was around, 2002 or 2003. Couldn't tell you the exact date, but I vividly remember the day. It was a Sunday afternoon, and we had just returned from church, and a handful of us had just started attending this little bitty church and trying to figure out all this Jesus stuff. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I knew things in my life had to change. And by this time in my life, I was pretty much done with rodeo. I was more consumed and distracted by just the whole party lifestyle and drugs and alcohol. And this particular Sunday, we had just gotten back from church, and out came the drugs. And I remember handing some stuff off to the guy next to me, and he just refused it. He began to tell me kind of how my choices and some of my drug use was impacting his life and his relationships and even his little boy. And man, it was like in that moment as if I had come face to face with my sin and my choices and what I considered to be casual, and not a big deal. And I just saw that it was destructive, and it was impacting this little life that, to be honest with you, I can't ever really remember even meeting this kid at that time. It was like I was being called out. And I was so uncomfortable. I got off the couch, and I walked through the kitchen and down these two little steps, and I sat down right here, right where I'm sitting at today, and I just knew I was done. It was like Moses in the burning bush. It was like my sin was before me, and I couldn't hide from it anymore. I've been drug free since that day, and it seems like it was just yesterday, but it's about 16 years. And just a few months after that, I started volunteering at this little bitty church, and I think it was by 2006, I ended up getting credentialed as a pastor, and by 2011, I ended up being appointed as senior pastor of that little bitty church. It's the only church I've ever been a member of.
That little boy Jared was talking about was me. And growing up wasn't always easy. Coming from a broken family is definitely something that's hard. And even though my parents did as much as they could to show me that they loved me and that they cared about me, I still always felt like I was a tag-along and like I wasn't good enough. I felt like that bag that you take to the airport that you have to pay for it to go on the plane with you, and it wasn't because my parents didn't care or how they raised me. It was because of the lies that I fed myself. It was the lies when I told myself that I wasn't good enough or that I wasn't going to be something, This year, God's taught me that my value and my worth has nothing to do with the circumstances that I've experienced. And I now attend that same little church And with Pastor Jared being like a second father to me, I can't get away with anything around here, man. When I was younger, I grew up telling myself lies and telling myself that I wasn't good enough. And I realized I had to surround myself with a greater voice, with people who are speaking life into me. Because like they say, garbage in, garbage out. You know, what goes in will affect you and will come out. And recently I've surrounded myself with people that push me, people who challenge me to be better. And, you know, it's been paying off. You know,
So I guess what we're really trying to say is don't let your circumstances define you. It's not what you're experiencing or how you grew up or the addictions or challenges you're facing that make you who you are. It's your decisions. It's those things you choose to do from now forward that define you. They're going to line you up to overcome. They're going to set you up for success. Forget about the past. Move forward and decide to respond to whatever it is you're being called to do. Called to greatness. Called to to get outside your comfort zone. Called to connect yourself to a mentor or a coach. Called to deepen your relationship with God. Your past doesn't define you. It's what you choose today.